Good afternoon, good morning, greetings, assalamu alaikum. My name is Shwa and I am the host and founder of a podcast called Light Up with Shwa. It's a weekly podcast on conscious living and parenting. I hope you have already subscribed to it, and if you haven't, please do so. So this is part 2 with Dr. Tallessyn, Zawn, Grenfell-Lee, and I hope you have already watched part 1 with her. And if you haven't, please do so. Do subscribe to Light Up with Shwa podcast. Let me know which episode do you like, which guest, which question, anything of these conversations that we are having during this pandemic. I hope you are getting something out of this podcast, and your comments and feedback is very important, and that will help me produce more relevant programs for you. And I hope you stay well and healthy, and keep watching Light Up with Shwa, and share, rate, and review. Here is Dr. Tallessyn again. Thank you. Thank you for that. My third question: what have you learned or gained or lost? There are 3 parts to it: learned, gained, or lost during this time. You can answer all 3 or 1 or 2.
Well, I think a lot of people like myself have really lost the physical contact with loved ones that we all miss so much. I really wish that I could give my nieces and my sister and my other siblings a hug. And even though I'm not living alone, I have my family and I have my dog. Especially people who are living alone have really lost that. I encourage people even just go hug a tree, any kind of physical contact, hug the earth, lie down on it, maybe find ways to find that physical contact. We really need it deeply. Even, hug yourself, but that's something that I feel like we all have lost, that in-person community, whether it's physical or just in the same physical space, that we all, maybe some of us didn't realize as much how much we would miss it.
Yeah.
So there is that. But for me, there's also been a lot of amazing blessings in terms of how many things have gone online, which has enabled me, for example, to attend the funeral of one of my friend's parents who passed away. Okay. It's enabled me to connect with communities around the world, like my friends in Switzerland and my friends in Cornwall, who they were doing things before, but they hadn't been doing them online. And so I wasn't able to join. And now that they're doing them online, I'm able to join. Yeah, every morning and every night I play my piano, and sometimes now my siblings join me and we sing together, and that's something that we didn't do before.
Online.
If we were living in the same place, maybe we would have done it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
they join me online.
Oh.
And so I do think that that is one really beautiful aspect of resilience, that we are finding ways, like you and I right now, we're having an interview that's not in person.
Yes.
And we're all finding ways, if you have internet, if you have the technology for it, even if you just have a phone, of connecting with old friends that I haven't spoken to in a long time. I think a lot of people are doing that, reaching out and just checking in on people that you haven't spoken to in a while. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And anything, so yeah, that's part of it. Okay. Anything you learned very profound that you had not learned before, or something new that occurred to you?
I mean,
it doesn't have to be, but I'm just asking. I just make sure that I get everything out of you.
I guess, yeah. Something new that hadn't occurred to me. I think probably one thing that it wasn't that it was surprising, but I wasn't expecting it, was that having, in my particular neighborhood, which is actually a very close-knit neighborhood, which is unusual, I think, in this day and age, it feels a bit like we went back 50 or 60 years in time, to a time when people actually walked around a little. Our neighborhood's not dense, so you can walk around and you're not near other people. We have a wooded area, and people are just out and about, and you're able to call across the street and say hello. And if anything happens, which sometimes things do happen, then everybody knows. And there's just a kind of sense of, oh, this is what it used to be like before we were all on our screens all the time, and before we were all so busy with all of our scheduled all the time. People are home and they're around. And I really do think there's been, for me, I'm 45, and I remember what it was like 30, 35 years ago in neighborhoods. And then I had kind of forgotten. And so it was a little bit of an interesting thing. I guess I'm just hoping that other people are experiencing as well, that kind of surprise of, oh, it feels nice to have a kind of neighborhood community awareness and relationality that we had lost that, and maybe we hadn't quite we realized it, but experiencing it is always different from just thinking about it, right?
So do you want it to continue after this pandemic is over, or is it like just okay for now and then you want to go back to your routine and your screens?
Do I want the neighborhoodliness to continue or other things?
Yeah, like the one which you said that everybody knows, and it's like 30, 40 years ago, it used to be this way. So do you want it to people and you to continue that relationship after the pandemic is over, because everybody's going to go back to their work and all? So do you think this can be managed?
I really do hope that there are a lot of things that people carry on with after the pandemic. And this is one of them. And, as much as it's nice to be alone when you're in the woods, for me, it was always a little sad to see this really beautiful set of nature trails and feel like not a lot of people were using them. And now it's like this really lovely thing that they're being more used. And I feel like, more nature connection is always a good thing, and more neighborhood connection is always a good thing. Yeah. So I actually really do hope that, once you become closer friends with people, you stay that way. Yeah. So I do hope that does continue.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Let's hope. How do you envision the world after this is over?
Well, I admit that my concern, my worry is that people have felt very deprived, and there's been a real sense of scarcity, and there's going to be a desire for people just to go a little crazy and fly in airplanes all over the world and be really consumerist and just spend a lot of, time. If you have the financial means, not consider at all about what maybe we could have learned from this, which is a different kind of abundance that maybe look at all of the money that we actually apparently had. And my vision, which is my hopeful vision, is that we will say, hey, this could happen again. Why don't we build a more resilient society together? Let's come together and actually figure out how to make that happen. Let's listen to the people who are talking about the Green New Deal. Let's make this happen for every community. Every community deserves to be resilient in the face of the next pandemic, the next superstorm. So that's my vision and my hope, that those people who have that voice will end up carrying the day in terms of what happens after the pandemic, and that even if people want to have a big party, then we don't just go back to business as usual. We try to create and build something new and more resilient together.
So this, you're talking about United States, that this is where we live and this is what you're hoping. Can you envision something for the world as well? You don't have to, because this is additional part B to it.
Well, like I said, there's what started out as the Green New Deal has now been envisioned as a global Green New Deal. Okay. And we really are one global village. It's not, these lines we draw are artificial separations. And every dynamic that the Green New Deal addresses is also a dynamic on a global scale, sometimes even more dramatically so. The people who are suffering the most here, and then you look at the global scene of who is suffering the most from things like pandemics and climate destabilization. We're really, look at migration. This is something that affects everywhere now. Yeah. And so my hope and my prayer is that the whole world can come together and embrace this idea of global resilience, and it can be strong enough to resist the forces of oligarchy and greed that are really incredibly strong. So it really will take an enormous amount of coming together and political will of the common people. That's my prayer.
Thank you.
Definitely for the whole earth.
Thank you.
Look at the skies, Shwa. Look at the seas. The seas don't stay in one place by Massachusetts, right? They flow all over. We have one ocean, we have one sky. So we're all connected.
That's a good point. Yep. Good. Thank you for giving that vision. All right. What
I
is
created
the,
my vision.
yes, thank you. What is the first thing you will do once coronavirus is all gone? I know you said somewhat to it in the beginning, but any more, specific things you want to do?
I mean, I think I would probably just get in my car and drive to my sister's house. I'd probably be crying the whole way. And then I would just hug her
Uh-huh.
and hug her until we got too hungry to, so we would just go cook some food and eat it together. And isn't that what life is really all about?
Yeah, yeah.
Table fellowship,
Yes.
sharing,
Yeah.
And I hope everybody can just find somebody to hug,
Yeah.
even if it's not human, somebody to hug and somebody to share a meal with. That's sort of the heart of life.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Thank you so much for your thoughtful replies. I hope that we will get over with this soon, but that when I started this, everything is changing every day. We are getting more information about the virus and how people around the world and in United States are handling it and all. So how do you envision the world after this is over? Some are saying, well, it's not going to be over too soon, but then, yeah, it will be over, right? We have to do something about it, and we have done it in the past. So yeah, the concern is of second wave and God forbid the third wave. So yeah, for that. So anyways, I'm sure we will be hugging each other soon. Uh, and may everybody heal soon and things get better. So Tallessyn, thank you for your time. Thank you for your all your energy that you do put in this area, in this work. And do you want to talk about your page on Facebook before we end this conversation on
Sure.
climate chaplaincy?
Thank you, Shwa. Yeah, I encourage people to think about resilience. So I have this Facebook page called Climate Resilience Chaplaincy. And when we think about this pandemic, that's not going to be the only one. Whatever it is, right? There's going to be another pandemic. There's going to be another major weather event that will affect all of us. How do we want to feel about that? Do we want to feel like we're just being battered and bashed from thing to thing? Or do we want to feel like we have resources for resilience so that we can stand up tall and face what's coming with our heads held high? And that's my hope, is that we can try to learn and practice resilience. So this is an invitation to come to my Climate Resilience Chaplaincy Facebook page, or obviously listen to any of the things that I've spoken about with Shwa on her podcast, and also just find your own ways to build resilience for yourself and for your community and for your ecosystem.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Welcome. All right, everybody, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. Don't be scared. Keep your immunity up, and you can fight this. And we are available on Facebook. If you guys have any message you want to talk to us, please do so. Take care and thank you.